Okay, so, hi hello, welcome back to another Creepypasta Story video. Today Creepypasta I'm going to bring is called Jvk1166z.esp. But before I get into it, I do want to say a few things. First off, the video is a one take, so if you do hear me stumble, mumble, fumble, and mess up my words, I am sorry, this is a one take. And second thing I do want to say, please consider using code GOONS at gamersubs.gg is code GOONS, and you can use that to get 10% off at checkout. But okay, outside that, let's get into it. This creepypasta is called Jvk1166z.esp. Some people might recall the momentary buzz caused in 2009 by a particularly odd Morrowind mod. The file name was Jvk1166z.esp. It was never posted on any larger Elder Scrolls community, only smaller boards and role-playing groups. I know in a few cases, rather than it being posted, it was sent via personal message or email to a chosen few. It was only up for a few days to the best of my knowledge. It caused a buzz because it was a virus or seemed to be one. If you try to load the game with a mod active, it will hang at the initial load screen for a full hour and then crash to the desktop. If you let it get that far, your install of Morrowind, along with any save files you have had, will become completely corrupted. Nobody could figure out what the mod was trying to do since it couldn't be opened in the construction set. Eventually, warnings were distributed not to use it if you found it, and things ended up dying down. About a year later, in a mod board I used to frequent, someone popped up with the mod again. He said he was personal messaged by a lurker who deleted his account immediately after sending it. He also said that the person who advised him to try playing the mod through DOS box. For some reason, this worked, sort of. The game was a bit laggy, and you couldn't get into options, load game, the console, or really anything else, other than the game itself. The quick save and quick load hot buttons worked, but that was it, and the quick save files seemed to be just part of the game file, so you couldn't get at it anymore. Some speculated that the changed game used an older graphics render, making DOS box necessary, but it didn't look any different. This part I can speak about from personal experience. When you start a new game in JVK, as the board came to call it, once you leave the starting bit in the census office and come into the game proper, the first thing you notice is the prophecy has been severed box pops up. This is because every single NPC having to do with the main quest is dead, with the sole exception of Yangram Bagarn, the last of the Dwemer. Their corpses never despawn, so you can go check on all of them. In effect, you begin in a world that is doomed to start with. The second thing you notice is that you're losing health. It's only a bit, but it keeps happening. A little bit at a time. The longer you stay in place, the quicker it seems to occur. If you let this health loss kill you, you'll find the cause. A figure we came to call the Assassin because he seems to wear a retextured version of the Dark Brotherhood armor from the Tribunal. Even though the expansions don't work in JVK, it's all black. Completely untextured, like he's just a hole in space. The way he moves, he gave me quite a start. The first time I saw him scuttling around my dead body, he crawls inhumanely on his hands and feet, his arms and legs splayed out like a spider. You usually only see him after death, crawling around and over your body just before the reload box popped up. Occasionally, you could catch a glimpse of him darting around a corner or crawling on a wall or ceiling. It made the game very difficult to play in the dark. Other than that, the only noticeable difference is that at night, at random intervals, every NPC in the game will go outside for a few minutes. During this time, the only thing they will say when hailed is, "Watch the sky." Once they return to normal behavior, they act regularly, though. After a while, a player on the board discovered a new NPC named Tyrus, a male Dunmer in the Temple of Ghostgate. Two things are notable about this NPC. First is his robe, a unique article of clothing that was lovingly rendered with twinkling stars all across it, looking like a torn-off chunk of the night sky. The second is that all of his dialogue, in addition to showing up in the dialogue box, is voiced. You can skip it if you wish, but it all sounds like all sounds like it's in the default Mel Dunmer voice. Some people say they thought the voice was slightly different, but it was a very, very good imitation. I won't go into the details, but the questline he sends you on has to do with a dungeon referred to simply as the Citadel. Up until this point, the quests were all fairly generic. Discover the secrets of the agents type. The entrance to this dungeon is on a small island far to the west of Morrowind proper. I eventually discovered that if you use the scroll of Icerian Flight at the westernmost point of the main landmass and jump directly west, you end up almost exactly on the island. Even though the dungeon is called the Citadel, it goes straight down. It dwarfs any other dungeon, both in size and difficulty. From a natural cave area, you'll proceed down into an ancestral tomb-looking area, then a Daedric ruin area, and then a Draenor ruin area. I made it down to the Draenor ruins before I quit. The creatures here were so strong that a level 20 character would have to take care. And since you can't use the console in JVK, level 20 took a while to get. Since quick save and quick load are your only options, it's all too easy to get yourself in an impossible situation too. I did, and I just did not have the energy to start over again. What I'm telling you is now based on a testimony of those few who went in further. Past the Draenor ruins, you apparently find yourself in a level like the Draenor ruins, but darker. Rather than the usual bronze, all the surfaces, including those of the creature, are black. The sounds of machinery are loud here, and grow louder still, and randomly, there's also steam or fog everywhere, limiting your vision to about 10 in-game feet or so. If you can make it through all of this, you'll reach a room at the end of the hall. Those who found it called it the portrait room. Like the fire torches and other effects from early 3D games, this room has picture frames that always face directly towards you. No matter how you look at them, the images in the frames are always randomly chosen images from your My Pictures folders. On the board, the ones who got to this point had some funny posting screenshots of the portrait room with various pictures in the frames, usually of sexual content, of course. At the end of the hall was another locked door, and after omitting the fee and returning to Tyrus, he could be found saying, "Watch the sky," in his gravelly voice. What's more, nobody else in the game will say anything. Talking to them will present a complete blank dialogue box with no options at all. They wouldn't even rattle off about the usual canned audible greetings. The only exemption was at night. Whenever they go out for a few minutes, they repeat, "Watch the sky." At this point, one of the players, a friend of mine from the board, noticed, and a few others who got this far agreed, that the night sky was no longer the usual night sky of Tamriel. It had changed to a depiction of a real night sky, and it moved. From this point on, everything is based on what this one person reported. Eventually, he got himself kicked off from the board, but I kept in contact with him for as long as he responded. According to him, based on a constellation and planets, the sky started around February 2005, and if you died and loaded, or went back to the Citadel, it will start over. When the usual day sky graphics took over, the movement would be suspended until the stars appeared again. In the space of a single night, everything would move about 2 months' worth. Since the timescale of JVK was more or less that of the standard game, that meant that it was a bit less than an hour or equal to a 24-hour period. He became convinced that the door would open based on some kind of celestial event. Of course, waiting for that meant leaving the game running. Of course, that meant the game couldn't be left unattended. Thanks to our old friend, the assassin, my friend decided he'd hang out for a whole day just to see if anything happened. That would be about a year's worth of movement. Here's the post he made at the end of his experiment. I loaded in Seda Neen, where it all starts. It wasn't too bad, just had to check in now and then to move around and heal to make sure I wasn't dying. But check it out. 24 hours exactly in, the assassin learns a new trick. He screams. I was reading and all of a sudden, this crazy loud shriek just about makes me crap myself. It was like something out of a horror movie. I look up and there he is, just crouched down right in front of me. Of course, the second I moved my character, he ran off. When I went back down to the portrait room, the door was still locked. Damn it, damn it, damn it. A bit later, he came to the decision that he needed to wait 3 days. 3 years. His reasoning was that the personal message advising us to try DOS box showed up in February of 2008. That was the point he needed to get to. After the first shriek, the assassin stops hitting you out of nowhere. Now he'll shriek. And if you don't move for a few seconds after that, he hits you. I think whoever made this mod was trying to help. At night, I got my headphones on, I was just kind of dozing off. When he wakes me up with a shriek, I jiggle the mouse and I'm good. That post was 2 days in, from his laptop. Once it was over. Fuck. So fucking done. So I wait the 3 days, right? And after the fucking assassin maybe jiggled the mouse and he shrieks again. So I look, and everyone in town is outside. They're all saying watch the sky, and I don't see anything though. But then the game starts getting dark, like really dark. I turn the brightness all the way up on my monitor and I can still barely see. There are other people in the game, like figures running around the distance, just going back and forth, and if I try to get close, they run off. Now, I was trying to sweep so the lights were off, and this was kind of creepy. I didn't want to get up to turn on my light because I didn't want to miss anything, but nothing fucking happens. Eventually, I go to the Citadel, and it was still dark, and I had to swim. And the whole time, I could see these guys swimming all around me, just barely there. I make it to the Citadel, and it's normal light inside, and I get worried. Sure enough, the portrait door is still fucking closed. I go outside, and it's all starting all over again. So that's it. I'm fucking going to bed, and I'm fucking done. The end. After that, 2 things happened. First, someone else who got to the portrait room claimed that the assassin was showing up in his regular Morrowind game. Quick explanation, if you reinstall Morrowind to a different folder, you could have a normal Morrowind installed alongside JVK. He himself chalked it up to an overreactive imagination at first, but he reported a couple of really big scares when the black figure crawling right at him, or seeing it waiting just around the corner before scuttling off. Another one of those who reached the portrait rooms started a regular Morrowind game, but never saw him for sure. It was just a couple of maybes late at night, and always at a distance. The second is that my friend started getting really abusive and short-tempered on the board. Though he stopped talking about JVK entirely, it got so bad that he was soon kicked off. I didn't hear anything from him for a couple weeks after that, so I sent him an email, and this was part of his reply. I know I shouldn't have, but with classes out, I had some time, so I started JVK up again. It's almost 2011, and I think I got the sleep madness. But stuff is happening. It's still dark. And once it gets dark, it never gets any lighter. It stays like that. The people moved a few months ago, and everyone in Seda Neen just went to that little bandit cave and moved in. They killed the bandits inside, and now they're just standing around inside. They don't say anything anymore. They don't do anything when you click on them. I quick saved and killed one, and he just stood there until he died without fighting back. And it's like that everywhere. You have to walk, since quick travel people are all in the caves now. But all the cities and towns are deserted. The people are in caves and tombs. Everyone in Jvk is down in the sewers. I'm going to Ghostgate next. I want to see if Tara's still there. I'll tell you what he says when I get there. I replied and I said I wanted to see what he said too, and waited a day. When I didn't get a reply, I emailed him again. A couple hours later, he sent back, "Sorry, I totally forgot." So it's 2014 now, since it's always night. The stars are always moving. The whole screen is dark, but you can still see the brightest stars moving around. Tyrus was gone. Everyone in Ghostgate is gone. I don't know where they went. They're not in any nearby caves, but there's new stuff. People still don't say anything, but their eyes are bleeding. It's so dark that even with a light spell, you have to get right up against them to see, but they're there. Little dark streaks coming down from their eyes. I think I gotta be getting close. I know this is stupid, but there's no way the payoff is going to be worth it. But I just want to be able to say I stuck it out. I got that one during the day. Later that night, I received a follow-up email. Some of the planets are moving right. It's pissing me off. If it keeps up, I won't be able to keep track anymore. It's almost 2015 now, I think. Fuck. You know, I just now noticed that there aren't any monsters anymore. I'm completely alone outside now. The main quest people's bodies are still lying around though. I went to go check on them. I don't need headphones anymore, so I just leave them off. When he shrieks, it's like he's screaming right into my ear. I think I even can kind of anticipate it. He's around a lot more now and a lot closer. He's different from the other people who started showing up. Remember, they keep running around, where I can barely see them. I have to admit, it's kind of creepy at night. Sometimes when I go to the bathroom or whatever, I swear I can see something outside, something out of the corner of my eye. So I'm keeping all of the lights on now. I sent him a letter, jokingly telling him to get some sleep, and left it at that. 2 mornings later, I found this in my email. It was the last thing I got from him. After it, he just stopped responding completely. I just got up from a fucked up dream, I think. The assassin shrieked at me, and when I opened my eyes, he was right there, crouching over me. His arms and legs were longer and more like a spider. I tried to push him away, but when I touched him, my hands went inside, and I couldn't get them loose again. And like he was made of tar or something. Then I woke up and I thought he was gone, but when I looked at the monitor, I wasn't where I was. I was in the corpusarium with Yangram. For once, the light was okay, and I could see him all bloated on those mechanical spider legs. I sat down at a computer and he started talking to me. Not in a box, but really talking to me. In Tyro's voice. He knew things about me. He told me things that I never told anyone. And some things I totally forgot about. He told me that almost nobody had made it this far, and that the door would open up soon. I just had to hang on just a little while longer. He said I'd know when it was time. He said I might be the first one to see what was inside. And then I woke up for real. But I was at the computer. I still wasn't where I was. Right now, I'm swimming out to the Citadel Island. And I can hear this tapping. It's at my window, just over on the left. So I'm sending you this because I left my laptop by my bed, to the right. Just a little tap, tap, tap. Like he's knocking his finger against the glass. I might still be dreaming now. I guess that's the end of the story. I know there are a few other tales floating around about this mod, but this is the only one that I know as true. As far as it goes, I deleted my JVK copy of the game pretty much right after I gave up. But I'd like to get this mod again. If anyone still has a copy of this file, I want to see some of this for myself. So, that was JVK. That was a Morrowind mod. I have done a few creepypastas regarding video games before. Most of them were about like Pokemon or something like that. But this is like my first Skyrim one, so hopefully y'all enjoyed hearing about this. That was JVK. That was JVK. Hold on. Jvk1166z.esp. For what it is, I think I actually quite enjoyed it. One thing I don't like about Bethesda games sometimes is like it does feel like you are really alone and something is kind of watching you. So this one kind of played on that, and I quite enjoyed it. I think it is an actual mod you can actually play. I'm not too sure. Like now it's actual mod. It probably won't curse you or anything, but for just like, if you want to try it out, it's pretty cool. But yeah. But outside that, I don't really have anything else to say. Thank you guys so much for watching. Use code GOONS at gamersubs.gg for 10% off at checkout and all that good stuff. And yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys later. Bye everyone.